Welcome to District Divided, everyone. I am Amit Singh. Joining me is LC, Lautaro Cabrera, Kadeen Wiggins, K. Dot, Spencer Brudig, and Matt Regan. I bounced all over the screen for that one. Our very first May episode of District Divided, and we have three main topics for you. The first one's going to be LeBron James and his thoughts on the play-in games. He basically wants the guy who came up with it fired. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to give you our coolest DC sports athlete as of right now. As of Thursday, May 6th, I think it's May 6th, 2021, who's the coolest DC sports athlete? And then we're going to conclude with trying to convince LC over here to watch a baseball game. Maybe not even love baseball, just watch a baseball game. But as always, we are going to begin with the State of the Union, which is your DC sports wraparound coverage segment. We are going to begin with the Washington Capitals because they demand we begin with them. They were 2-2 this past week and are now in first place in the East Division. We're locked in the playoffs, where we'll play either the Boston Bruins or the New York Islanders, but that's not even the story here, guys. On Monday, Tommy Wilson, our fan favorite, got a 14-minute penalty and a $5,000 fine for a hit on Artemi Panarin that led to a concussion that ended his season, which was really only 4 games, but it ended his season. The Rangers then released a statement saying Wilson should have been punished more, citing that he has been a repeat offender and he's just this terrible person. This act of violence should not be tolerated. And then they said the NHL head of player safety should be fired. Now, the president and GM of the New York Rangers see the statement and go, we didn't even put that out. That wasn't us. The owner goes, you're right, that was me. Fires both of them the next day. We then play the New York Rangers on Wednesday. 6 fights in the first minute.
My God.
The Caps dominate those fights. We dominate the game. We win 4-2. And the feel-good story, TJ Oshie gets a hat trick in his first game after his father passes away. And he was very emotional. The team was very emotional. But what an insane story. But the main thing here is the Washington Capitals are in the playoffs. Up next, we have the Flyers twice, tomorrow and Sunday, and then the Boston Bruins on Tuesday to round out the regular season. And then it's playoff time. Matt, are we the best team in hockey right now?
No. But we're very good. We are very, very good. But I'd still give it to the Colorado Avalanche. Probably still the Vegas Golden Knights above that. But coming out of the East, this is a brutal division. And I think a lot of names are thrown out before the season. I said the Flyers are going to make a run. The Rangers might even make a run. But look who's at the top. Old Faithful, Caps, Penguins, Crosby finding some late legs. He'll probably get in the MVP race. But, man, the Caps are buzzing. I would say we definitely prefer to play the Islanders. Ever since the Bruins picked up Taylor Hall at the trade deadline, they've been buzzing, making a really good push. They were neck and neck with the Rangers for that final playoff spot. They've really pulled away. So, hopefully, I think as Caps fans, we would prefer to go against the Islanders. Former coach Barry Trotz team knocked us out last year. That would probably be the better matchup.
Okay, Which game will have more fights? That's what I want to know.
Nah, it's the playoffs. Honestly, there's not going to be.
Whoever wants a piece.
But I would say probably more fights against the Islanders.
Okay,
if I just
I'll root for that matchup. Because it was curious that the ref dropped the puck, and as they hit the ice, they just started fighting.
Literally 1 second in, there were 3 fights, and then the moment Tom Wilson got on the ice, 3 more fights, and Tom Wilson beat the shit out of whoever he was going against. It seemed like the guy didn't even want anything to do.
But my point with the Rangers is like, okay, you don't get Tom Wilson back by going after him. Like, he can handle his own. He's enforcer. He's 6'4". You throw Brendan Smith at him, he ragdolls him. You're mad at Tom Wilson for ending the season. Artemi Panarin is a top 5 player in the league. They should have been gunning after Backstrom, after the skilled players. I mean, Manta's a big guy anymore. If Verano's on the team, they should have went after him. Like, that's how you get back at Tom Wilson. That's how you send a message to him. Say, if you come after our stars, we come after your stars. In fact, they just went after Tom Wilson. That wasn't going to do much.
Real quick, we're about to move on, but the New York Rangers got fined $250,000 by the NHL for that statement they released because it was absolutely ridiculous. Wow. So they're left with that hole. And by the way, Pavel Buchnevich, who was one of the guys Tom Wilson also hit, he just got suspended 1 game for a high stick on Anthony Mantha. Would you believe it? Tom Wilson did not get a suspension for what he did to Panarin. Now, moving on to the Washington Wizards. 2-2 this past week. 6 games to go. It's crunch time for them. But they are 3 games ahead of the Toronto Raptors for 10th place, which is a playoff spot. It is a play-in spot this season. And we play the Toronto Raptors tonight. We're just a half game back of the Indiana Pacers, which would mean we could potentially host a play-in game. We would need to win 2. Russell Westbrook, though, this guy right here, now 2 triple-doubles shy of tying Oscar Robertson career triple-double record for most all time. That is absolutely unbelievable. And these games for the Wizards are starting to get very, very high scoring. LC had mentioned it in our group text. The last 3 games have been 125 to 124, 154 to 141, and 135 to 134. All of these games in regulation.
Yeah, no OT.
OT.
Just sensational defense right there, boys.
Yeah. You know what? I think that Scott Brooks was like, fuck it. These guys cannot defend at all. I might just at least teach them to score more than the other teams. It's just like, we're going to take 130. Fine. We just got to score 135. That's the strategy.
Scotty Brooks has never been known for his defensive coaching. We've known that for 4 years now. And in that 154-141 win against Indiana, Russell Westbrook's triple-double in that, 14 points, 21 rebounds, and 24 assists, guaranteeing his average for the season is a triple-double for the fourth time in his career.
17 players in that game hit double digits.
But how many hit 20 plus rebounds and 20
Hey, Kadeen,
assists?
how many big men had more than 4 rebounds with Russell Westbrook stealing all of his balls?
I'm doubting
no one. Man.
God damn. It was an all-star game. That's exactly how it was played.
It was just like, fast break. Fast break. Okay.
I think Russ shot 8 times.
8 times. He was also 4 for 4 from the line, which was another anomaly. And by the way, this would be the play-in game as of right now if the season ended today. The Pacers and the Wizards. So you could get another 154 to 141 game there. Next for the Wizards, the Raptors tonight, as we had said, the Pacers on Saturday. So you may just see it this Saturday. And then the Hawks twice on Monday and Wednesday, all on the road. LC, what team do you want to see absolutely steamrolled by Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal?
Without caring about the sports and the matchup, I think for the drama, I want to see him play against Kevin Durant. Just for the drama. I don't care about good basketball. It's the Wizards. We're not going to watch the best basketball. It's just going to be offense and no defense. So I at least want the drama of playing against Kevin Durant.
Do you think
if Durant is injured, I don't want to play against the Nets. Like, I don't give a shit. I just want the drama of playing against Kevin Durant.
Do you think that every time Westbrook gets an assist, a rebound, or a point, he just looks at Kevin Durant and says, am I the best point guard now that you've played with?
Okay, here's what I would do. If I'm the guy at ESPN or TNT or whoever's got the rights, all of a sudden that night I have to mic up Russell. Like, that's just the lottery. They always mic somebody up. It had to be Russell this one game, because that would be gold.
Maybe they'll allow a fight in one of those Nets-Wizards games. But the Nets are very appropriately moving themselves away from that 1 seed, which is what the Wizards would play in round 1. It looks like the 76ers, should we be fortunate enough to win both play-in games, to play against the 1-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. Now moving to baseball, and LC will get to your love of it later, or your hopeful love for it later. At one point this week, your Washington Nationals were in first place in the NL East, thanks to a 5-game winning streak. Then the Atlanta Braves came into town. We have dropped 2 of them, and we are currently playing this 3rd one, and we're down, I think, 3-1 with like an inning left. We are about to get swept by the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves also in those first 2 games, back-to-back grand slams. The first time they've done that since 1997. The first one done by the fucking pitcher. I was at that game. Absolutely ridiculous. Shout out, though, to Kyle Finnegan.
How was the popcorn?
I didn't have it.
Did you have some ranch on that?
I've heard he's gone. This is inside source. Inside sources. I don't mean to derail this great city union, but inside sources say it has moved past the ranch seasoning, and he's actually just goes for ranch dressing now.
Oh yeah, just ranch dressing and just Old Bay then. Just
should be a
I don't think
that's my inside sources. I don't reveal who that was. I don't want to give anything away, but Big J here. That's what I've heard.
I clearly don't tell you guys I love you enough and also hate you enough. This is absolutely insane. I do not just consume straight ranch. That's absurd.
It's on popcorn.
Whoever your source is, whoever your...
It's on popcorn, dude.
Shout out Kyle Finnegan, who had himself an immaculate inning against the Braves. 9 pitches, 9 strikes, 3 outs. It is actually called an immaculate inning. And shout out to Davey Martinez, who today became the longest tenured Washington Nationals manager in our history, passing Manny Acta with 411 games now. Yes, Kadeem.
Do you just keep like the ranch dressing in a vat with like the popcorn like a chowder?
Where's
like
the
is
mute
it
button?
you just
Oh, that works. Oh, that works. There we go. All right, cool. We're turning into Around the Horn. People have requested this, by the way.
You're a coward. You're a coward, Amit.
Listen, real quick, we haven't talked about
He
Georgetown
really pulled
soccer.
the main host card right there.
Hey guys, real quick, we have not talked about
He
Georgetown
can't
soccer.
stop me.
Georgetown soccer, men's and women's, both made the NCAA tournament this season. The Georgetown women's team got knocked out by TCU in penalties in the Sweet 16. Georgetown took the first penalty, scored, and then there was a lightning delay before TCU could take their first one. They had to wait, and then ultimately TCU prevailed in that one. And Georgetown today, their men's team, beat Penn State 3-2 in the Sweet 16, and it advanced to the Elite Eight. So shout out the Georgetown men's and women's team. I'll take all ranch questions at the end of this.
I didn't even know there was an NCAA tournament for soccer this year.
Yeah, no, it's just not
How
very
did
well
I miss that?
advertised.
I didn't know that you could actually put ranch dressing on your popcorn.
You can't. It's illegal. Like he does it.
It is illegal in 28 states. Moving to DC United, we started the season with that 2-1 win over New York City FC, and we have fallen pretty hard back to earth. We lost to New England a couple of weeks ago and have now lost to San Jose 4-1. By the way, guys, I don't know if you know this. There's a 17-year-old named Cade Cowell for the San Jose Earthquakes. That kid is really fucking good. He scored against us. Up next, the Columbus Crew on Saturday at 1:30 p.m., again on the road on NBC Sports Washington. Yeah, House Divided. LC's wife is a huge Columbus Crew
We were
fan,
watching
right?
Columbus yesterday. Unfortunately, they were trying to go through in the CONCACAF Champions League, but they got swept.
Yeah, well, you know.
A lot of MLS teams actually made it until they got to play a Mexican team, and then they all lost. So,
Hey, those Mexican teams are good, man. They don't talk
are.
about it enough. They are really good.
Mexico's actually in soccer, they pay very, very good salaries, which allows them to get a lot of like South American talent that is not ready to go to Europe, but ready to get a better paycheck. And so they get really really good teams. Very
There you go.
competitive.
Didn't know about that. I know Luciano Acosta, former DC United number 10, is in Mexico right now playing on one of the teams over there. Now moving to women's soccer, the NWSL regular season starts in 3 weeks. The only bit of news here is that the team did sign defender Cameron Biagalski to a 1-year deal. She played a handful of games in the Challenge Cup this season, and now she will be with the team during the regular season. Moving to the Washington Mystics, they start their season in just over a week. We lost a preseason game to the Atlanta Dream 87-80. And in terms of roster moves too, remember Blanca Milan, the Spanish point guard we signed? She had played at UMass for 6 years or something like that. She got cut. So a bit of a bummer there. And then we suspended guard Clara Lundquist for the 2021 WNBA season. Suspended just means they're going to play overseas and you retain their rights. It's not like we went, oh, you did drugs, you're suspended. No, in the WNBA, I don't know why they use the word suspended.
Interesting language. Yeah.
They need to change that. But that's the level of detail we put into this State of the Union, folks. And then finally, the Washington football team, the NFL draft is officially over. If you want to hear more about the Jamin Davis pick, we did an episode last week. Feel free to tune in there. We brought in 10 new players. The top 3 picks, again, Jamin Davis in the first round, linebacker from Kentucky. Sam Cosmi, left tackle from Texas. Very excited about him. And De'Ami Brown, wide receiver from North Carolina. And today we also signed 2 veteran free agents, quarterback Lyndon Stevens and tight end Dion Yelder. Kadeen, what did you think of the draft overall now that all the picks have been made?
Huge fan. I mean, just looking overall as far as where Washington goes, like the Jamin Davis pick was huge. We talked about it a lot, but also now knowing when everything lined all up, why they didn't go after JOK out of Notre Dame because of the medical issue. Not to mention still that issue between him kind of being a tweener as far as his size goes. But beyond De'Ami Brown is probably my favorite pick maybe of the draft for us. Just as a dude that he was one of those guys that if you, depending on who you were talking to, was kind of raising up certain boards. Like Chris Sims, I watch a lot of Chris Sims' content just because he's really, really in depth. And it was one guy that he just kept going back to. So it was always in the back of my head that like, look out for this cat, look out for this cat. And look, UNC for the most part, historically not known as a good football team, but shit, they were ranked last year. I mean, at the end of the day, like the ACC was, especially if you look at the ACC with all the cornerback talent that was in there last year, it wasn't anything to sniff at. Like this dude was playing against some top talent. So I think that's going to be an exciting thing. You skipped over one guy, Mr. Benjamin St. Just, I think is how you say his name.
Yes, I did. Go ahead.
I think he's Canadian, if I'm not mistaken, which just makes me excited. But I don't know why, but it just does it. But he seems like a really cool guy. But the Samuel Cosme pick also, as far as a tackle that will be able to do some things here for us. Athletic is all get out. There's the highlight that I think everybody's seen where he catches that ball out the flat and then just takes it off and goes running, chugging and stomping down through the end zone. It's just, look, fun draft. We didn't reach for anything, nothing stupid. We got a lot of guys who just are versatile with this coaching staff and with the way that the roster's already lined up. I just think there are big things ahead for the Washington football team.
And arguably, too, the most exciting pickups, Jarrett Patterson, running back from Buffalo. He'd scored 8 or 9 touchdowns and ran for 400 yards in just one game this past season.
And hearing Chase Young was responsible more than anything for getting that guy in here, which means that, like, I like to see, it's not necessarily that you got players that have the owner's ear. It's different from hearing that Clinton Portis talk to Dan Snyder and we're drafting a person compared to, hey, the coaching staff and everybody wants to kind of know, hey, are there any guys you're really excited about? It's good. It's good that they're having that two-way street and that conversation kind of happening in Ashburn.
It's a good thing.
No, it's a great signing, especially because, like you said, Chase Young vouched for him, and they've been boys forever. So you have high hopes for him. And then, of course, we have Samis Reyes, who's the future Tony Gonzalez, future Canton man himself. So we're feeling pretty good about.
Can't miss prospect.
Can't miss him. But another guy that's going to be a Hall of Famer is LeBron James in the NBA. And damn, I love that transition. So he's going to be a Hall of Famer in the NBA. And he has some thoughts on the play-in game. He thinks it is the dumbest invention of all time. So real quick, for those that are unfamiliar with the play-in system, the 7th seed plays the 8th seed, and now the 9th seed plays the 10th seed. The winner of the 7-8 game goes into the playoffs as the 7th seed. The loser ends up playing the winner of the 9-10 game. And that team winning that game, could have explained that so much better, is the 8th seed and ends up playing against the number 1 seed overall.
It wasn't that much. It wasn't easier to explain it better. It is kind of.
It's a bit weird, but that's how it works. So LeBron thinks that this is a horrible idea. Go ahead, Elsie.
And to be clear, and the way it used to be was as simple as the first 8 teams in the standings just go to the playoffs. That's
Correct.
it. No tournament at all.
Correct.
So
Exactly.
that's the change.
So Elsie, actually, since you explained the previous system as well, why don't we just send it over to you? So what are your thoughts on LeBron James coming out and saying whoever came up with this plan idea needs to be fired?
Braun's got immunity. He can say whatever he wants about the league. Like, he's brought so much attention to it as well, and he's elevated to be something else. I think also with his work outside of the league. I think what he has done for the NBA and for the league has been amazing. So I think he's got a little bit of immunity, and he can be critical. And also you gotta people say things that go on the headline, like, if you actually ask him, do you think this person should be fired? Maybe he won't really mean that. But I understand why he will be upset in the position that the Lakers are in, right? So the Lakers are sort of like struggling to not play that tournament, right? And obviously they've had a lot of injuries. And so I understand his position as like, I don't want to have to worry about this fucking tournament when I could just be in the playoffs if you kept the system. But on the other side, as a Wizards fan, who I know we would have missed the playoffs for sure if this tournament wasn't in, and I want to see Russ play Kevin Durant, I'm fine with it. Put the tournament in, it's getting the Wizards in. But if I were able to be neutral, I would say it kind of complicates things just unnaturally. Like, it doesn't make it's just inconsistent with the fact that you are trying to reward teams for being consistent, for lack of a better word, throughout the season, right? Like, you're already doing playoffs, which actually plays against the idea that the best consistent team will win the league, because now you have a sort of chance, right? Like, even if you finish 8th, which is not great, you still have a chance to get in there. As opposed to like leagues that just finish when they finish, and whoever's first in the standing is the champion, which is very common in other places of the world, but not in America. And so like, you're like adding this idea that like you can be not great during the season and like still have a chance at a championship. That I don't love that. Like, that to me it just doesn't reward consistency as much as it should.
But I think you're also just getting sort of the hotter teams. You're taking the chances with the 7 through 10, like just the 7 and 8 seeds. So you're getting hot teams against the 1 and 2. I think it sucks for the 1 and 2.
But here's the thing, though, because the good thing about the basketball playoffs is that there's a best of 7, right? And so like, you still have to be consistently good against the best team to win. But with this tournament, like whenever there's one game, I mean, in one game, anything can happen, right? Like that's just not enough to test. Are you a better team? That's just one night. It's one night. Somebody can get injured with a stupid injury that's like a 2-3 day thing. Somebody can get a COVID protocol thing, and so it just adds too much variability. I think too much randomness to determine who's the actual best team.
I'm going to cut you off just really quick. I think that wild card games are super fun, and they're some of the best things in all of sports. They're just hilarious and amazing, and wild card teams have won in other sports before. I think of like the Giants when they made their San Francisco Giants when they made their run. They were a wild card team. They ended up winning it all. It's amazing. It's so fun. Just going back to LeBron really quickly, there are a couple of moments over everyone's career where I call them like reminders that people are human. And there are several things that he's said and done where I'm sure he could probably like wanted to roll those things back like 48 hours after he said them. One being, I think, the decision, the actual, broadcast of that. Another being the Taco Tuesday thing where he was supposedly tried to trademark it, and then he got blown up for that. And then this is a pretty dumb statement from LeBron. It's like he wasn't complaining at the beginning of the season or last season when they were a top team, but now that like he's thrust into the possibility that his team could lose, and then he kind of is like, oh, it's hard on my body. I know he's getting older. I know that sucks, but the same thing, like, sorry, that's a bummer, but this is, something that you're going to have to do. And I just, as soon as I heard that, I said, I don't really need to know more. There's probably more context. I just think it was a dumb statement by one of the greatest players of all time.
And he's also probably upset at the fact, like, he wants to play, right? And like the fact that he hasn't been playing, like it's just asking somebody in a bad mood. Like you're just gonna get a negative response.
So he wasn't alone, because Mark Cuban and Luka are both said something about the play-in. Yet they're sitting around that 7th seed. So you exactly know why everybody's chiming off right now. Look, this play-in thing has been one of the best things to happen to basketball in a very long time. In the sense of just excitement, in the sense of you have these teams that usually around this time of the year wouldn't give a shit about anything and basically tanking for draft picks or to get a better spot in the lottery, where you now have teams that are actually trying. You have fans that are actually tuning in. Shit, even LeBron saying some dumb shit doesn't hurt, because now you even got more people that are tuning in. And not to mention, it just speaks so highly of the NBA and the fact that they let their players say whatever the fuck it is they want to say, which is great. But, I mean, overall, like you said, because it's a 7-game series, when you hit the playoffs, the better team is going to win. It's just about these teams that are on the cusp. If you're a 1 or 2 seed LeBron, you're not going to say shit. But if you're on that bubble, you don't want to stress it. You just want to get in. Look, it's a new day, baby. Play more games. Or if you're LeBron, if you really want to get pissed off at anybody, look at your sucky Lakers cast.
Trash.
And realize, before I got hurt, I left you like this. Now I come back and you're like this. What did you do? What did you do? Like that, there's where their anger should be. Not with the system itself. It's great. It's so great for basketball.
I do think that I agree that I hate the tanking part. I do think that like in every league, at the end of the league, there are teams that are in it and there are teams that are just waiting. I would love to see something like relegation, so that like you don't get the tanking. Like if you could get a G League to come up, I know that's weird because here things are geographical and like franchises. I know it's different. But if we could get like an incentive to not tank and to not suck, like that could also make teams at the end
your
play for
communist soccer talk somewhere else, sir. I want to hear this shit. What? No.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I would not support any major league clubs if relegation was introduced.
Absolutely not.
You're telling me that you wouldn't watch like the Pistons against some other shitty team to see who has to play in the G League next season?
Dude, if Pistons, I mean, I already don't. It's already impossible enough to watch.
The Tulsa Turtles.
It's impossible enough to catch a Detroit Market game in DC.
You play a 7.
And why would you want to? They haven't been relevant since Malice in the Palace,
Excuse you. Don't you dare disrespect Rodney Stuckey like that.
And this is coming from a Kings fan.
Yeah, at least we had a heyday.
Exactly. Imagine you had a Pistons Kings matchup this season. Best of 7. Loser goes to the G League. I would watch that.
That would actually be pretty sweet.
Well, to Kadeen's point, really quick too, the best team almost always moves on in the first round, and they're really boring, right? The last time that we actually had a really great 8 versus 1 was 2006 Baron Davis led Warriors, where they defeated the number 1 ranked Mavericks. That was the only time that an 8's ever defeated a 1. That was incredible. It was amazing. And it will probably happen once every 25 years. And so these play-in games are super fun because you actually could have a little magic where a team overcomes, they, get in and they're just fired up about getting into the playoffs when they would not have even been remotely close to the playoffs just 3 or 4 years ago. And then maybe they get hot and they beat a 1. I mean, who knows? It's kind of one of those things with the Phoenix Suns. I would say that they are definitely a team I could see getting knocked out in the first round, even though that they are that good.
Yeah, well, think about it. It's from the business side, first and foremost, it's genius, right? The Wizards are in 10th place. I love this play-in idea because now we're one of the hottest teams in the league, and we could potentially go against the 76ers and go, let's go. That was not possible last season. We could not do that. So now in 10th place, I'm paying attention. Toronto Raptors fans think this is a huge game tonight. They're in 11th fucking place in the East, so now they're paying attention to games. That is genius. And in the West, you have the potential for LeBron and AD against a potentially hot Steph Curry to get the right to play against the 1 seed. Sign me up for that. That is genius. Whoever did that needs to get a raise. It's a brilliant idea.
Not fired. A raise. So it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Wow. Hot take.
You in 180.
I was talking to somebody the other day about this, and they were saying as far as the play-in, that what it should be is a best of 3. Each of the games should be a best of 3. So at least it runs along the lines of what they would typically do when it comes to playoffs.
That's what I mean by that consistency.
I mean, I think there are a lot of problems with that, especially when you're talking about the play-in, and then you're going to have to get.
But you have to win both games if you're the underseed, right?
Yes.
It's not just one game. It's not.
If you're a 9-10, you need to win 2 games.
Yeah.
So
but the idea would be each matchup is like a best of the way that they were breaking it down to me. And it's just, I mean, I get understanding it, but there's this, I like this sudden death sort of thing, man. There is this sort of, it's fun. It's just fun. There's no way to get around. It's why the NFL is so much fun. Any given Sunday.
Where do you draw the line? If how many teams are not in the playoffs when there's 8? There's 7 extra teams who are not in the playoffs, right? Per conference. Would you make a tournament? So if you have 8 who qualify, or let's say 7 who qualify and 8 who want to get in, would you just have a tournament between those 8 and the winner gets the 8 spot? Like, where do you draw the line of like, you know what?
I think it's a well-drawn line.
It's fine. Yeah, I think it's totally fine. And
this
look,
year, we'll see next year.
But everyone loves the NCAA tournament. It's one and done. It's a beautiful thing, except these guys get paid millions after the game's done too. It doesn't matter. I think it is a great idea. It has nothing to do with the Wizards being in 10th place. This is awesome.
I just think that the only counterpoint I think I have is that like it just doesn't reward consistency. And to me, the best team in the league is the one that is consistent.
But it is. But it does. They still have to go through all the playoffs.
You will eventually have to go play the playoff games. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but you're still not.
You're a soccer fan, right? I'll say.
Yeah.
So I spent the last week, what I was doing was, because I'm still pro Super League in soccer, right?
No, he's not a soccer fan. He hates it.
So what I was doing was
I love to play it.
I took a look at the 5 major leagues in soccer in Europe, right? And I was looking at how everybody talks about the whole regulate bullshit. And I was realizing the parity doesn't fucking exist. It's an illusion over everybody's mind because of the championship. Basketball is born because of how predictable it can be. And we have to do everything we can to shake it to fuck up. How many times we go in the playoffs knowing that's the 1 guy, that's the 2 guys, they're going to play in the finals. And it ends up happening exactly the way it does. We have to enter something in. And as long as you're not one of the topper echelon teams, we're not really fucking with you that much. You still pretty much have that coast straight through the same way you
Top
always
6
would.
are safe.
Right.
There's plenty of spots that are safe.
Make it fun for some of us.
All
some
right,
of
all
us.
If you want blood, I get it.
Well, think about it. It also brings more casual fans into the play-in game, for example. So now if Curry wins 2 in a row, all of a sudden they're watching that series. They're going to be like, I want to see how far he goes. So now that brings in more viewers. I think, again, from a business perspective, this makes
the playoffs have started
from a
early.
Perspective,
I'm still feeling if Klay Thompson comes back, I would cry. I would probably scream. I'd turn off all the lights. I'd light a candle. I'd put on Enya, and I would just I just can't even. If that were to happen, it'd be amazing, and they're going to win it all.
Says the Sacramento Kings fan.
How do you not? It's Steph Curry. He's beautiful. He only has so many years left. Let the man just launch threes and just win championships.
Just a purist.
He's done that. Next.
And then God can collect the best screenplay fucking award because that storyline of Klay coming back and then making a run to be the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
So we're talking about a great athlete in Klay Thompson, a pretty cool one, I would say. I think people love Klay Thompson.
Vaccine today. He got his vaccine. He was representing.
He's got like arguably the worst beard in the NBA. I would
No, not
Oh,
anymore.
Kevin
Not
Durant.
anymore.
Durant.
Not
Kevin Durant has a
anymore.
horrible beard.
Durant has
Okay,
that
well,
one.
fine.
No,
Second, my bad.
Clay's is good now. It was bad for a long time.
Oh,
It's
okay.
fine now.
Well, if he's shaved now, I haven't looked at him now, but
I mean, like he did it like 2 years ago.
famous picture
Like
is
2 years ago. Yeah. Anyways, go on. Go on to your sweet segue, Amit.
Speaking of cool athletes, let's talk about the coolest DC sports athlete at this time. Thank you, Matt, for allowing me to segue that. Why don't you kick us off? As of right now, who is the coolest DC sports athlete?
So, I was thinking about this quite a bit. I was weighing through all the teams. I think there are some interesting wild cards, but I went with what I first thought of when I thought of this question. I said, who is the guy that grabs his D after he takes in every ball? That is Juan Soto, 21 years old. Soto Shuffle, had confidence from day one. He's the coolest athlete in DC. So much confidence from day one. He reps it well. He's amazing. He's the best athlete in DC. So I went with him.
I love the
on the
idea,
safe
but
pick.
Elsie, what sport
It's a
does he
safe
play?
pick.
Elsie, what sport does he play?
I don't know. Do they have equipment? What equipment do they have? I mean, you can grab your balls. I don't know what kind of sport that is.
Those are just with his hands.
Oh, okay.
That's literally the only argument you need to know that Juan Soto can't be the coolest athlete in DC. He's a fucking baseball player. I'm sorry. Look, I love the Nats. I love baseball. You can't. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. And as much as I love that team, it's just not going to work. Look, if you want to talk about the coolest athlete in DC, there's one way in which you could go, based on like history and things like that. And I would say that Russell Westbrook's name should be hovering around that conversation for just coolest guy, right? And especially right now, I mean, the averaging a triple-double. He could literally not score another point, another rebound, anything, and he still averages a goddamn triple-double for this. It's amazing. But I'm going to ride the hot hand right now as far as who's the coolest. We're looking at power rankings, right? It's got to be Chase Young. And if you're looking at Chase Young coming off of Defensive Rookie of the Year, you're looking at the endorsements, Under Armour, Beats by Dre,
Under Armour, those are like all off. Those are all off-brand. Those are all secondary brands.
How about you go sip
that's
your
like a
wine in your fucking
Mercedes
bubble?
Chipotle has organic chicken now, though. I don't know.
Dude, no one. It's not cool to be an Under Armour
He
athlete.
just
Okay,
did a commercial with Justin Fields. Like, no, shut up,
dude. Cool is Jordan. Cool is Nike.
He's on. Chase Young has been on. He's on the Family Feud episode that they just had with NFL.
That's
athletes.
not cool. What's
It
cool
is
about that?
cool. You're talking about a dude that's 1 year in, getting things that all these multi-year veterans usually get. He is the guy. If you're looking around the league, if you're talking about the most, the scariest player in DC, Chase Young, the dude that we want to watch every single play. What is he gonna do? Because he's a difference maker.
Well,
Chase Young,
I'm not saying.
do you ever drive around the Beltway and see him? See that
He's
young
from
kid?
the DMV. He's
When you
from the
see him,
DMV as
and
well.
he-
Went to Ohio State. baby.
I think-
always there.
I think potentially the hot pick could have been Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I was going to throw that out as a dark horse because
Yeah.
he is so freaking cool. But
He's
I wasn't
cool.
going to say he's my coolest. But
Who's
Ryan
your coolest?
Fitzpatrick is cool.
Who's your coolest then?
Cool.
I was going to say Juan Soto is in my top 5. I'm just going to go 5. Trinity Rodman could definitely be there. She's not there yet, but she really could be. I think Chase Young is really freaking cool. Okay, I guess that was my third.
That was your
Doesn't
third.
matter. Russ Westbrook is my guy. Like, he's just so cool. His fashion is just perfect.
His fashion,
his his speaking, his community work, and then as far as being on the court, he's just Mr. Cool. The dude's awesome. I think he's the coolest DC athlete right now.
I agree. I think, when Karim was talking about, like, if we look at history, like, I don't care if we just look at the swag, like that, Russell Westbrook, if viewer/listener, if you can Google Russell Westbrook fashion, you're going to have just a party. And also, like, his press conferences and how he just doesn't give a shit and tells it like it is. When he was saying, like, oh, I guess rebounding was good when Oscar Robertson did it, but now that I do it, it's not good anymore. And I just love the fact that he's, he's himself in every possible way. And the basketball players, like Karim said, like, you can't compare the coolness of a basketball player with a baseball guy. You just can't. Come on, man. That's just not even a question.
Go ahead,
Matt.
Matt. Go ahead, Matt. I'll give you mine at the end.
All right, sure.
No, I was just gonna say I think those are all fair. Like, I love Russ, and also I think the shout out to Russ is he seems to be an old school player, at least in his playing style. Like, plays hard every single game, yams it, doesn't even shoot 3-pointers, never learns how to do it, just wants to get his triple double. So I think Russ, I totally agree. He's like the person you want. So I would say, I mean, Russ definitely over Chase Young. That to me is not even close, but whatever. Ohio State, fuck. Anyways.
Would you put Brad or Ovechkin over Chase Young?
No, I love me some Brad.
Who the fuck is Brad?
Brad Beal, man.
Bradley Beal?
Oh,
See,
Bradley
why
Beal.
are we even asking him? Why are we asking him? Why are we asking him? He doesn't know. It's Brad. The context of the conversation. Who's Brad?
Whole team around.
Who's Brad? Who's Brad? Who's Brad?
Which Brad? Come on, man.
All right, sorry.
Hey, listen,
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take an L there.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, all right.
Would
Go
you
ahead,
consider today Ovechkin, or would you consider like Caps just won the tournament Ovechkin? Because that's a different kind of.
That was a pretty cool Ovechkin, and I feel like he was the instigator of like an all-time Stanley Cup parade.
Yeah.
So Ovechkin's cool. Oshie kind of just seems like a frat bro a little bit, but
Is Ovechkin cool though? Like
Not
when
really.
Yes,
he's not
cool.
really cool.
Yes, he's cool.
I don't
he's
know.
kind of cool. He kind of does good. He did have that sweet quote, which was, "We're not going to be fucking
We're
sucked
not
this
gonna
year."
fucking suck this year. Yeah.
I
Listen.
mean, to me, he's just a hockey douchebag, but I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
Okay. Okay, I'll see.
Have you
You
ever
know
seen
what?
his parking jobs?
You know what? Let me get to mine because this is very much on topic. Mine is on the Washington Capitals, and it's not Alexander Ovechkin. It is the man of the moment. If you had asked me 2 days ago, probably a different answer. I'm probably going with Juan Soto with what Matt said. The dude is showtime. He's 21 years old. Every time he's at the plate, everyone
Ball
stands
driver.
and they're hyped. But it's got to be Tommy Wilson, man. He has single-handedly put the NHL as the front story on all sports shows right now because everyone's talking about these fights. Everyone's talking about him. He's turned the Washington Capitals.
Wait, that makes him cool?
villain. Oh, it makes him super cool for this city. Everyone fucking
No,
loves.
no,
Tom
no, no,
Wilson.
no, no,
Everyone
no,
loves
no,
Tom
no.
Wilson. Yes.
No.
This is no.
Yes.
What is wrong?
Tommy
wrong
Wilson,
message.
as of
Wrong
right
message.
now,
He's
is
a
the
menace.
coolest DC
He's a
franchise.
legit menace.
I
I'm
love
reminded-
hearing
I'm
this
reminded
right
of
now.
Godfather,
I love
I'm
all of
reminded
it.
of Godfather 1, where Michael's in the room with Mo Green and Fredo, and he tells Fredo after Mo Green leaves, he says, "Never take sides against family." I feel like that talking about Tom Wilson, but the motherfucker's a psychopath. All right, $1.3 million in fines, missed 30 games, tried to bash somebody's head into the ice till he died. Like, the dude is insane. You can't be cool for doing shit like that. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. If you're
He
looking
scores
at
goals too.
no, and that's the goes. I remember when we were first bringing this entire debate up was what's your definition of cool, right? The definition of cool to me is influence. Definition of cool for me is not giving a shit what other people
Dude
think.
screams influence.
No, he's just a psycho. It's not that it's not that you're doing things your way. He might be a sociopath that doesn't feel any emotion for any other human being.
I don't know,
Round one.
Kadeen, now that you mentioned it, I feel like I'm kind of moving towards Emmett's side.
There
I mean,
you go.
street
There you
fights
go.
are up in DC, and that can only be because of Tommy Wilson.
Dude, people are going to watch hockey again because, there are a lot of casual NHL fans that left because of all these lockouts that have happened. Have made it a little less interesting. They've discouraged fighting. You know who broke through that shit? Tommy Wilson. He knows who he is, and
So
he loves this city, and we love him back. He
That-
is
Should we allow
our
fights
villain.
in more
This-
sports?
Yeah,
This
well,
is bullshit.
yes,
This,
we could
this
talk
is,
about that
This
too.
is white. This is gentrified DC trying to reclaim violence
telling
with
me-
some hockey
Go ahead.
bullshit. Fuck off. This is not right. All right. If you're gonna no, this is not what DC violence is about. It's about shooting people. It's a totally different thing. It's a
Right,
totally
so
different thing.
Listen,
You don't
listen,
get to- you don't
you're
repackage our
completely-
violence and then
You can't
resell it
appropriate
to the
that.
masses.
completely
Get the fuck
Can't
extrapolating,
appropriate that.
bastardizing my pick here. But Tommy Wilson is a ratings machine right now.
Kadeen, I just
People
love the
are
idea
going to
too
root
that it's
for
like a guy that skates around on ice in DC, smashing people's heads into ice.
He's a
Here's what I-
perfectly good pick.
Here's what I say. If Tom Wilson is out on a street on Benning Road Northeast, all right, he's getting robbed. All right, Chase Young ain't getting robbed. Russell Westbrook ain't getting
I
robbed.
don't think Tommy Wilson's getting robbed.
Is Juan Soto getting robbed?
No, he's
No.
grabbing his balls. And
What-
you're
here's
like,
the
"You're
thing.
Juan Soto."
He's robbing them.
So,
Juan
so
Soto,
yeah,
but that's the thing,
Creeps-
it's like I'm talking about if you
What a
have one of these
segment, boys.
athletes on just at a gas station in the middle of the heart of DC, what's the
Okay.
reaction going to be?
This wasn't
Juan
the question,
Soto-
by the way.
But that's the thing is cool though, right? So like
it's
Juan
defining
Soto,
cool. Like,
Juan
would
Soto-
you get robbed?
Juan Soto,
go
you're
ahead.
gonna have somebody in the gas station be like, "That dude looks familiar." Oh shit, that's Juan Soto, and then try to tell everybody about him because not everybody understands or knows. Tom Wilson is probably slashing somebody's tires, so we don't know. Just psycho, right? Chase Young's gonna be there in the Phantom with fucking moonroof shit, with the stars and stuff everywhere, and everybody know who he is.
Chase Young starting the party. No, I get it. Trust me. I love Chase Young. I love Chase Young. I love Chase Young. But right now, we're talking about right now, it's got to be the GOAT.
Right now,
Tommy Wilson.
I'm on a podcast.
Tom Wilson's not the GOAT.
I said the goon. The goon.
Oh, the goon.
He's not the GOAT. We got Alex Ovechkin, man.
What?
Well, he's the goat of cool, man. He's the goat of cool in DC, right?
Concussions.
He's the goat of cool.
I'm on a podcast looking around the screens with the lack of melanin. I'm not taking this shit from
None
you.
of you would either. He's our guy. He represents our city. He loves this city. He was on the bender with Alex Ovechkin. None of this happens without the man. He does the dirty work. He does the dirty work, and we got Zdeno Chara backing him up. No one wanted to fight Chara. No one wanted to fight 6'9" Chara. He was like, "Oh, who am I dancing with?" They're like, "No, I'm good, man. I'm good." And Tommy Wilson still might be tougher than him. Tom Wilson right now is the coolest DC sports athlete.
What a terrible take.
Wait, really quick though, just as a side note, are we like, I know this is like funny, are we okay with what Tom Wilson did? I watched that clip. And was like,
absolutely not.
But like, no, I legitimately was like, wait a second. And then I was thinking, he's like punching dudes in the kidneys on the ground, and he's like slamming people. I mean, he's terrible for sports.
What are you talking about? Okay, from a business perspective, we're getting back to this. The ratings went just through the fucking roof.
Hold on. When did you become such a businessman? There's only one
I don't know what's going on with me today. I have no idea what's happening.
He sees green only.
This dude, all I could see is this. He's social media trending. I haven't seen hockey trend in ages. And I'm like, dude, this guy gets it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say this. The Panarin thing to me was the worst. The one with Buchnevich where he first hits him down, I think that's a pretty standard play. When he's on the ground, hits him again. I don't think he hit him that hard, but that one was pretty uncalled for. The Panarin thing to me was the worst. Where like Panarin's helmet grabbed him by the hair towards the ice. That's like the dangerous shit. The 5K fine by the NHL is an absolute joke. That is a joke. That is a sick joke that they're playing. And the fact that there's been more consequence for the people complaining about it that's just an even bigger thing. But in all honesty, I think part of this roots in that Tom Wilson, he's like the modern day tough guy. But if this was like back in the 90s, there's like 5 guys bigger than Tom Wilson on every team, and Tom Wilson can't go around doing this. You can't do this stuff because you have to pay the penalty.
You're putting Tom Wilson 20 years ago. Kadeen's putting you on fucking Benning Road at a gas station. Listen, we're saying right now, Tom Wilson is the coolest. That's all I'm saying. You guys want to put him wherever the hell you want to. Where, when, doesn't matter. But he is the
only reason he could ever be the coolest if you're trying to give some technicality because he plays on ice, like some sort of pun shit. Beyond that, no. He's had it.
Well, remember, Kadeen, he can do like spins like Ovechkin can do. You know, he can jump and spin on the ice. So right back,
like a figure skater.
He can. Let's talk about that.
Sort of like a figure
The Olympics are coming, baby.
Tell you what, why don't we go ahead and not talk
Tanya
about
Harding should take a goddamn crowbar to that asshole's legs right now. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Tom Wilson's a fucking asshole. He's an asshole, and he's bad.
Our asshole. That's my
no. Like I said, when I did the
such
whole
a cruel
Godfather
asshole.
thing, right?
The moment
I did the Godfather
if he
thing,
ever leaves,
it hurts.
he ever leaves,
The only reason I'm speaking freely is because I'm around Washington sports fans. I wouldn't say this about anybody else. Like if there was a Ranger fan in our midst, I'm not saying this. Well, fuck your team, right? Tom Wilson, the dude's got a problem, and he's got to get some help. Literally, like legit. He is sick, and I'm not gonna give the coolest athlete championship belt to some psycho. No,
I'm not ruling out psychos. I feel like that is pretty discriminatory.
I actually, anyway. He just doesn't seem that cool. Anyways, go on.
All right. Well, let's conclude today's show.
What is he, Canadian?
With convincing LC Lautaro Cabrera to enjoy a game of baseball, to understand baseball.
Do I have to be at home?
And well, Matt Regan's about to give you a pitch, and he can answer that question as well.
It's
Matt,
not a variable.
Why should LC enjoy baseball?
Elsie, and let me just wax poetically for a bit here. You probably think of baseball as this old curmudgeon-y sport with all these unwritten rules, kind of like the golf of the major sports in the U.S. where it's all stuck up. But let me tell you what we're going through. We're going through a revolution today. We're going through a revolution, and the league is now run by these young fences. We talked about Juan Soto. Every time he takes a ball, he grabs his nuts and stares the pitcher down. We got Juan Soto going. We got Ronald Acuna. This guy's got like 5 necklaces, still running the fast guy in the league. He's got an absolute cannon and goes yard all the time. And then we go to the West Coast. We got Fernando Tatis. You want to talk about cool athletes? That is the coolest athlete in America right now. He's got the hair. I love his celebrations. He hits home runs. He maybe a little bit of bat, a little bit of pimping. Gets his bench going. It's a whole different ball game, right? It's a whole different ball game. But with all this being said, you got these young stars that are cool, that are fun now. Oh, we're still led by Old Faithful, Mike Trout, who probably isn't going to get you excited, but he still keeps the classic baseball fans in because he's the best player we've ever seen. And then the other guy on his Angels, Shohei Ohtani. Let me tell you about this guy. LC, let me tell you about this guy.
I'm
listening. Right, this guy leads the league in home runs and also throws 99 miles per hour and is a pretty good pitcher too, okay? He's the first player. We haven't seen this player like this since Babe Ruth. It's like literally a once in a lifetime player. This guy's an absolute stud. That's what's going on in the MLB today. Jacob deGrom, also a stud. You're probably not going to get excited by him, but he's a stud too. So that's where we're in baseball, but I really want to pitch the young stars highlighted by DC's Juan Soto. He represents where baseball is going.
Do you still get 3 to 4 minutes of action in like a 2-hour game?
No, kind of.
Okay, well, that's my point. That's my point, man.
No,
like the
it is a slow burn, and I would say like if I had to watch a baseball game every single day, that would suck. But dude, I tuned in to watch the Padres-Dodgers series that was going on a couple weeks ago. It was absolute dynamite. Again, Fernando Tatis blew up. It helps when the stars are showing off. But yeah, dude, the young stars make it fun.
If I could also quickly contribute to the conversation, Elsie, you love chess. You absolutely love chess. There's a chessboard behind you. I know it's hidden by your chair right now. But once you get to playoff baseball is awesome because it is managerial matchups. It's not just the players on the field, but all of a sudden, how many left-handers do I have in my bullpen? How many right-handers? Who am I going against right now? The numbers, all of a sudden, the numbers are being considered as well. How is he against lefties? How is he against a curveball, et cetera? And so then you get these matchups where the manager goes out to the mound and says, you're done. I need this guy because we're going against this guy who bats 352 on the season.
So they don't do
and it's the ninth inning. I'm sorry?
They don't do it on a regular basis. They sort of just put
They do it on milder versions.
But it happens in playoff baseball and it's kick-ass. So at the very least, I want you to at least be able to look forward to playoff baseball because that is epic.
I can maybe do that if I have company as well. I will never watch it alone.
So that's the thing I'll see.
We're getting somewhere, boys. Go ahead.
If you're talking about regular season baseball, even as an American born and bred, fuck that. It's 160 games. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, it's boring as shit. Like going to the game, eating a hot dog, having beer, stuff like that. That's great. Like if you're talking about the end game, like we could do that all day, right? But if you're talking about sitting at home, Ahmed's got it right. Playoff baseball is like one of the best. It's like the best movie you've ever seen. The way that the time and everything, the lulls between stuff. When you're looking at the count at the bottom of the screen, it's all right. There's 2 strikes, 3 balls. You got the pitcher up on the mound. You know he's been pitching all day and he's tired. What does he got left? And you're edge of your seat, and that pitch goes through, and you wait. Oh, you don't know every single time you're right there. Oh, and then when it finally makes through, you stand up. Oh, home run. Oh no, they caught. Oh, you just don't.
So it's those seconds of suspense between.
But it's the spikes. The spikes are so high.
Yes,
okay. It is. And Elsie, I'll say honestly, I'm not a huge baseball guy, but I can count on my hands like the moments of sports that I truly remember. Even playing, I'll go back to me playing in sports. I played baseball so long ago, and I don't know what it is. There is magic in baseball.
It's probably the fact that it happens so rarely. Like those moments happen so rarely.
Wow, you're like giving us a chance. All right, so I would offer.
It sounds to me like supply and demand. Like, there's very few.
Like if you're surrounded by boredom, magic therefore is a non-boring event.
Hey, I'm gonna also offer one counterpoint to just the playoff baseball. I agree. Like July, August, June, July, August baseball is that's tough to get through, but. I think it's also tough to get through like March and April basketball at times and hockey. I think those are pretty boring in those months. Like we're kind of just coasting. So getting into like the first month of baseball to me was really fun. I think I'm going to phase out over the next couple months, but it was really fun for me to follow. You kind of see the stars. And again, I need to reiterate, we are going through a revolution right now with our young stars.
So much waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, that's the thing I'll see is that like, I'm not going to try to convince you like Matt is. Basketball could cease to exist until play-in time. Baseball should cease to exist until playoff time. But when the stakes are high, right. When you know each pit, it's the thing. It's not.
Okay.
Spencer said something that I never thought of, which is when you think about all your greatest sports moments, how many are really baseball, even if you're not a huge baseball fan, just being the most exciting moment is insane. But it happens all the time. Like, when you're in playoff baseball, there are certain games that the next day, dude, did you see that? Or did you, like, did you see dude hit a grand slam, like, in 7th inning, like, out of nowhere? Like, it's just, you're constantly there, and it's always a payoff in playoff baseball because the games are going to end with a winner.
Somebody's got to win. Right?
Somebody's got to win.
There are also moments that really don't happen in other sports. I mean, the idea of a perfect game, right? Yeah. Which is not just the pitcher. It is
that I found very interesting.
That is crazy. I will go and watch. I'll legitimately, again, going back to the idea of like watching things. I don't really watch a lot of baseball highlights, but I will probably once a year go back and watch like perfect game highlights just because the joy on those, and it'll be like a random game in a 162 game season. It's like there have been less than 30 perfect games. I think there's been 208 no hitters, something like that. That is crazy. I mean, that is unbelievable. More people have probably walked on the moon than have thrown perfect games.
So here's a formula for me to watch it. So it's got to be playoffs. It's got to be the Nats because I got to be a little bit invested. And there's got to be a possibility of one of these players doing something absolutely.
I have a compromise for you. I have a compromise.
And I can't be alone because fuck that, I'm going to fall asleep.
Fine, but I have a compromise for you for regular season baseball. For one regular season baseball game.
Are we all going? I'm getting a beer?
It starts with ranch.
You can even get. I said at the very end.
That's in the parking lot. That's pregame.
If you're selling them on the in-game experience, just stop talking. You eat ranch popcorn chowder. What the fuck's wrong with you?
If the LA Angels are on TV, Shohei Ohtani is must watch. If you were to see one, because he pitches, like Matt was saying, and he also bats.
And he's just beautiful.
So rare to see, and he's gorgeous.
Beautiful man.
And he's a beautiful man. So you get the complete package, the trifecta over there.
Okay, so
it's worth watching him because he's in it all. He does it all.
When do they play the Nats? Maybe that's.
I'll pull it up for you, bud. I'll pull it up for you.
Likely.
Yeah. And while I'm pulls that up, I would say, and I kind of a cap for this episode, coolest athlete all time, gotta be Ken Griffey Jr.
I don't know who that is.
I would have counted that immediately, but I was pulling stuff up. Hold on, Matt.
What? That's not unanimous around when I think cool ads. I only think of Ken Griffey.
No.
Maybe it's because he was like when I was young, but like Ken Griffey for sure.
Yeah, that's because he's the only like good athlete. For Detroit.
Okay. Also, I have
Barry Sanders.
He didn't play for Detroit. Ken Griffey didn't play for Detroit.
I was thinking about Gary Sheffield. I think I got him mixed up for a moment.
I have to be honest with the watching stuff because like I love playing soccer. Like I will play anytime unless it's 11s, which we were talking with Matt because that's again too boring. But I don't love watching it. Like it is not a great sport to watch. And so like I also think you can have a different relationship between watching and playing a sport. Like that's
I totally agree.
You know, with Spencer's like moments of play.
I mean, wasn't Derek Rose saying he doesn't really watch basketball?
Basketball's fairly exciting to watch, though.
Dude,
it
is. Fuck do we play the Angels?
Probably plays more 2K than he does watch it.
We probably don't play the Angels.
Well, we play the Dodgers, so why wouldn't we play the Angels?
Because the Dodgers are in the NL.
Also, my final moment of this show is I made a mistake. There have been 12 men who have walked on the moon, and there have been 23 perfect games. So just wanted to clear the air there.
Oh shit!
There you go.
Well, we learned two things in that statement.
That's an interesting comparison, though.
Wasn't there a Detroit Tigers pitcher who got robbed of a perfect game?
Yeah,
that was huge.
Armando Galarraga.
How can the MLB not go back and be like, we screwed that up? How could they not just award that? They're like,
I think he's more famous. He's kind of more famous
because he didn't get it. Yeah. Right.
Because he has it. Everyone knows he got it. But he's kind of
20 years from now, they should just give it to him. He gets the fame from that, and then eventually be like, dude, it was so clearly out. The guy made a mistake. He feels terrible about it. Everyone knows it was a perfect game, except the MLB record books. It makes no sense to me. They should just acknowledge that it was perfect.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. Yeah. But anyway, guys, that is going to conclude this week's episode of District Divided. I am Amit Singh once again joining me. Lautaro Cabrera, the new baseball fan, LC. We got Kadeen Wiggins, K. Spencer Brudig, and Matt Regan. I believe that's the same order I entered you guys in as well. You guys have a blessed day, a blessed weekend. Enjoy some ranch popcorn. All right, gotta go. See ya.
Cheers, Young!